going to call this Aura Aware. And it will be a wonderful way for us just to start to look at that part of us that is more than just our skin and bone being. If you can imagine that we have this sense of us just being our body and our bones and our skin, and we pay a great deal of attention to our body and how our body is looking and how it's presenting to others, our physical form. But actually there's a whole nother dimension to who we truly are. And it's not to become obsessive about our aura being and our energy being. And equally, it's not for us to become obsessive about our body being, our physical body being. So what we want to try and do is get a sense of balance about who we are. Yes, we are this bag of bones and skin, but we're equally an energetic being. And if we can start to think about ourselves a little bit like that and start tuning in to this part of us that really is our delightful self as our human being and our light self as our energetic being, we become incredible once we begin to really show up in this world in this amazing way. So we're going to, just before we begin, let's just ground and connect. Come, let's sit down where we are or settle in. Make sure that your bottom is holding the space where you are. Put your feet flat, or if you're sitting on the ground, just connect in with the base of your body. And we all take a nice deep breath in. And then just breathe out. And we drop all our doing and performing and all our showing up and all the stuff that we do. We just drop that into the space. And then have a sense of you in the space where you are. And have a sense that it is okay for you to be here. And if it feels like a safe place for you to continue to stay here, do that. And if it doesn't, be free to release yourself from any obligation, a sense of obligation or must, should, have to. Don't do any of that, okay? So stay as long as you can and as long as you wish. Lovely. So if you give yourself permission to be absolutely safe and well and happy and connected, then just allow for that right now. And now begin to imagine that you've got a light that is beginning to open into the top of your crown, and it's pouring right through the center of your body. So what we are doing when we are doing that, we're helping ourselves to first ground and connect. And then we're also helping ourselves to reconnect and realign to our light presence. And when we come in and we sort of pull this in and merge this alignment of our light presence into this life presence, we really start being able to integrate and connect in a much more profound way, in a way that really helps us to move through this life with flow and ease and grace, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, because we're kind of holding the center. When you're pulling in your light being and you're inviting your light being to come in, it begins to illuminate you from the very center. And even if we cannot feel it, if we can imagine it, we start pulling it through and pulling it in, it starts becoming. We become very, very connected to divine, to the source and the light. Lovely. So whatever your intentions are, and whatever it is that you would like to receive out of this time, may the blessing of that come to you, and just may you feel blessed by whatever opens up in your awareness, because the more aware we are, the easier it is to be here, that awakened sense of being. So bring that in and allow yourself just to receive what is for your most divine and gracious life journey. and only that. We do not want to receive anything else that is not for our most divine and sacred life journey. So feel that, and feel a deep sense of comfort, place, and being held and loved. Good. Now we take a deep breath and gently come back. And come back into this room, the space and cyber that we're holding, and just feel that you're connected here. Good. Wonderful. So we'll just start right at the beginning. You know, people love to have definitions. I'm not one of them. So I had to look this up. So what is the definition of an aura? Oh my gosh. And you could go on looking online for this in so many different places, but we're going to take a quick little look at what it is. It is that distinctive atmosphere or quality that seems to surround and be generated by the person, the thing, or the place. And it says the thing because everything holds holds space in space. We all hold a space in space. So we are all connected energetically. So therefore we all hold a radiance, a light energy that is around us. And in spiritualism and some forms of alternative medicine, an aura is seen as an emanation that is surrounding the body of every living creature, and it is regarded as an essential part of that individual. For our awareness that our emotional, mental, and spiritual levels form an energy field around the body, and this is what is known as our aura. So I've popped this little picture in here, and hopefully you can see it okay. And if you can't really see the background, just tilt your camera or your laptop or whatever device you're using, just tilt it a little bit and perhaps you'll see this. But this was taken by a friend of mine, Irene, with her two little lovebirds in her hair salon, her little studio. And these two crazy lovebirds really love each other. And if you can notice, there is like a little haze around them. She just took it on her phone, not a fancy camera, just clicked the two of them having a little chat together. And you can see in this image, this little aura that is showing up around these little birds. So if we start to understand that an aura is not like the aurora borealis necessarily, it can be quite bright and illuminated with colors, but if you can first understand that to see your aura, it feels a little bit, or it looks a little bit like just a haze, just a little bit of a haze around the person. And once you tune your eye in to see that, you become able to see more and more. And colors start coming in as the more you work with it, the more you will see. It's like anything in life. The more you practice it, the more you're tuning in and the better you get at it. But if initially all you see is a little bit of a haze, that's perfect. That is what you are seeing, is this little bit of a haze. And the other place that I love to look and to find this is at the end of the day, as the sun is going down, or first thing in the morning, if you can find a tree that has got a really particular shape, like a conifer tree has got these sort of like spiky outer edges to it. And if you can look at that against a blue sky backdrop and kind of look right into the center of the tree and notice with your peripheral vision, you will see this light haze open up around the actual shape of the tree, and you will see it as distinctive to the rest of the sky because it holds the shape that you're seeing that is of the tree. It's beautiful to watch. So do that, and that'll also open up your vision. Okay, so I'm going to show you this little picture. My darling Bobby took this picture of me years ago when we had moved back from Colorado and we were in Jeffreys Bay. And this was my therapy room, and out of those windows is this beautiful little garden and then the beach. So it was a divine space. And of course, my puppy is my favorite little treasure. My Shambles was my absolute heart. And she was lying on the bed with me. And that is apparently the way I sleep. And my man thought this was hysterical because all he could see was my nose sticking out, but everything was covered and just the nose is breathing. So he took this photograph to show me sleeping, nose sticking out, and my puppy. And when we looked at the photograph, this little aura, this orb or this aura was showing up very much around the head, the crown. And it was sweet. It's such a sweet picture. And it was captured on film, which I think is lovely. If we can have evidence that this that we think doesn't exist actually does exist. And so I must have had a loving presence just near me at that point, or something sweet. So let's just understand this first, that we all perceive ourselves and this world and this life in very different ways. There is not any one way of doing anything in life, and we know that. That's why there are millions of recipe books. We only need to know how to cook eggs probably one way, but apparently there are millions of ways to cook eggs and decorate them and show them up. Millions of recipe books, millions of recipes, millions of people, and everyone with a different slant, a different understanding that helps us to access information. And information will come to us depending on our wiring. We have unique wiring which determines the level or the depth of our perceptual range. So we're either going to find that we are more visual, we're more auditory, or we're more tactile, or that we sense and perceive in different ways. And that is what we tap into. So I'm going to try and present to you a few different ways that you can tap in, but you're going to find your own way. I'm just going to open the idea for you, but you will find your own way. If you're keen to be part of this knowing, you will find your way, and you'll find it easily. But know that it is unique to you because you are a unique being and you are wired in your own magnificent way. It says here that there are 8 clear sentient ways, clear senses, but actually there are way more. We have plugged into 8 approximately for this human perception of our being. But so we can think about the ones that we rely on normally. So we think about our 5 senses of our being. So here we've got our vision, we've got our hearing, and we've got our smell, and we've got our taste, and we've got touch. And these 5 senses are trying to help us and inform us about life. But what has happened is that we don't receive enough information through these 5 senses. And part of the reason for that is that we have started to struggle with, our struggle has come through surviving. And because we're trying to survive in the world, the 5 senses of our being have pretty much been dedicated to vigilance, being hyper alert, to being watchful, mindful, so that we can survive, so that if something unexpected happens, we'll know about it and we'll know what to do. And because we have dedicated so much of our energy to survival, the 5 senses have pretty much shut down most of its expanded version of being able to be and help and interpret for us. So what we do mostly with our eyes, we look to see if we're okay. We look in a mirror, we look on the faces of others, we do all this micro filtering of expressions. We're doing it all instantaneously, but we're always doing it under the screen or the disguise of being vigilant and being cautious and fearful and checking that we're going to be okay. And until we flip the switch from our survival mechanism as being our default setting into a higher setting, we're going to pretty much be stuck and not being able to perceive as much as we possibly can. But we do have ways of switching it on, and that requires us to become aware, awakened, and mindful. And once we do, and we drop all the wounds and the pains, the defending, the deflecting, the distracting, denying, detaching, or we drop all the games of our being, we actually start learning learning how to see and interpret and perceive in more magnificent ways. So here you can see clairvoyance, of course, being able to see, the ability to see. Clear cognizance is your ability of knowing, just to have this clear knowing. And I'm sure you've all had some examples, and I'd love you to start thinking about those while I'm chatting. Maybe we can check in with each other in a moment and we'll ask about that. And so we have this knowing that there's something I've got to do, and it's just persistent. I've got to do it. I'm going to give you an example from my family's life, and then you can perhaps see what you have as in the way of examples. So my brother had a little bit of a flu or a cold or something. He had a little bit of a cough thing going on, a bit of a chest, nothing serious. He was at work, working with my dad. And my mum had a message come through to her, a knowing that she needed to take my brother, David, to the hospital, and she needed to have the person check on his lungs, because the words that came in were collapsed lung. And she'd never heard of a collapsed lung. She didn't even know what it was, but it was absolutely persistent. So she went to the factory where my brother and my dad were, and she said to David, please, you've got to come with me. We've got to go to the hospital. We've got to go and check you out. And David said, please, Mom, are you crazy? No, we're not doing that. He was like mortified. You know how a teenager can be? Like, oh, Mommy, stop fussing, kind of, no. But my mom was insistent. She just wouldn't let go. So she got him in the car, went to the hospital. And when they got there, they said that if David had done anything, like lifted something or even coughed a little bit more excessively or anything, the lung would have collapsed right over a major aorta, whatever those things are, and he would have been gone. So that knowing that is ridiculous, really, is what we need to start tuning into and listening to. And I'm sure we've all had moments where we've just said, oh, I won't listen to that. And equally, we've heard many, many stories where people have had a knowing and thankfully listened to it, responded in the right way, and it has saved their lives. So clairvoyance and the clear cognizance is a way of understanding. Then clear audience, that we start to hear. And this is probably one of the hardest ones, because what is my voice? What is the divine voice? What am I hearing? Is it true? And am I making it up? There are ways to understand what is mine and what is not mine. And so we'll talk about that. And then clear empathy. You'll find so many new children are coming in. The young children coming are high empaths. Most of us who are interested in energy work are also high empaths, because we perceive and pick up on things. Sometimes it can just be quite difficult being an empath, because it's a lot of information coming in and we haven't been taught how to screen and to hold and to respond in a way that is helpful to our being. All right, then there's clear sentience. And this is a physical feeling. And I have this one, and I must say I have aspects of pretty much all of them. But the clear sentience one, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So really nudge me to give you some information about that, but you actually physically feel it in your body. All right, let me put my little glasses on here because the eyes are getting blurry. And then the clear, now how do we say that? Tangency, to something that's tangible, I guess. So it comes from that. And it's the sense of being able to feel through the sense of touch. That is amazing, that to be able to sense right through skin and to feel what is happening inside of the other being. It's a little different to the clear sentience, where there's a actual physical feeling. This one is like you're feeling through your hands and you can feel where the pain is. I remember as a child, we used to take these long drives up to Mozambique, and my dad was always, we were in this great big Land Rover, and my dad in the front, and I seemed to always want to sit behind him for some reason. And I was sitting behind him when I first understood I could do this, and I was quite young, and I could see and feel and sense where he was sore on his shoulders. And I remember putting my little hand on the spot and feeling as if I could go into it and touch and release that thing that was in pain there. And I just thought that that was what you do. I didn't think about it at all until so many years later. And my dad tells me that it was like magic having me sit behind him and just touch that place on his back, because he said the pain would just release instantly. And I didn't think anything of it, but it's almost like this fingering part knows where to go. I don't know how that works, but anyway, that's what that is. Okay, and then clear alliance is when you are sensing through the smell, and then clear gustance is when you are sensing through taste. And I think the taste and smell are so much more subliminal. You know how taste and smell can instantly shoot you back to a time period or an instance or a circumstance, and you can be there absolutely instantly. That is that sense.
But when you were talking about your about the lung collapse, go to the hospital, when I old, my mother actually was shopping at the grocery store, and I had broken my jaw. My mouth was wired shut, and I had just come home from the hospital, and I got really upset, and I thought I was going to throw up. And when your mouth is wired shut, you could probably like asphyxiate or choke on it, and for some reason my mom, all of a sudden my mom just dropped the cart and just ran home, and she had to get to me, and it's just amazing how you had said that. It's like she just knew, and my mother and I are so connected.
Oh.
And it's just amazing. So I've experienced that. Although I didn't feel it, my mother did, but I was just so upset, and it was just very frightening.
Yeah, Tammy, thank you for sharing that. That is exactly it. And isn't it wonderful that your mom followed through, because now you're here today, thanks to your mama.
Yeah, she calmed me down.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. Yeah, lots of instances like this, and the mum child bond often opens that empathic knowing in such a beautiful way. I don't know if anyone else in this group understands or knows or relates to that being able to hear telepathy, or to connect telepathically.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep, can hear you, Robin, love. Is that my Robin?
Robin.
Yes.
I wanted to share that this last week I have been super stressed and really busy, kind of mentally freaking out, and my twins have behaved so badly, and they have literally been mirrors of my mental state.
Yeah.
Picking up everything of mine, all my junk, and as soon as I ground myself and cleared myself, their little vibrations have just raised again, and it was really eye-opening for me to realize how connected and tuned in they are to me. Yeah,
that's exactly it, Robin. And then you think about how powerful that is, that they're tuning into you so that you can tune into them. And imagine that at the same time, if they're away from you or they're at school or something, and you just start feeling the sense of unease or a little rattled or something, and you were to just go and ground, they would feel it immediately as well. I mean, that's powerful.
Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, now that I know that, I'll definitely be more mindful in practice.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thanks, Robin. That's gorgeous.
I've noticed things about my dog.
Yes.
feel like my dogs are so connected with me, and I could just, they just, and I've been told that people could see a light within my, and a lot of the times if they're afraid, I'll say that's okay, and then they're fine.
Oh,
And I could swear that they see so much more than I can, and I have a feeling that's true. And I'm sure you're probably
yeah.
expand upon that, but I so much more.
So much more, Tammy. You know, you can't believe how much they can sense and see. And my dog used to freak me out a little bit because she would be looking at me and suddenly she would be like looking to the side, like she was seeing something over there, you know. But she never reacted badly. She was like, oh, this is interesting. It's like she could see something that I couldn't see. And if I just stood still, I could feel energy, or I could feel something that was, or a presence, or a sense. It's interesting, hey? And our animals are so tuned in as well. So equally as our children are, our animals are fantastic guides. My beautiful friend Carol, who's also on here, she is very, very tuned into her animals, but also the plants. I'm just going to say that about my friend Carol because I know that. And you know, it's just that we can literally hear as if it's a voice of our children, the plants, our animals, everything. We are all connected. We are one. The way we are connecting is through a heightened sensory perception tuning grid or fork or whatever the thing is, or whatever we could imagine it to be. But the pineal chakra is the knowing, the place of the knowing, the place of the connection. And if you were to want to locate where your pineal chakra is, you would imagine a point here right between your eyebrows, and imagine you draw a line straight back to the back of the head. So it's a line that goes from the front right to the back of the skull. And then imagine halfway, that would be where the pineal chakra is located. It's the place of the third eye, and it is has an access point also to the top of the crown. And you can see these in this picture, these energy waves that are sort of coming out almost as if from the ears. This is what the energy feels like. So if you were to place your hands here, even upon your own being, you would feel a little activity just in the palms of your hands. And the more tuned in you become, and if you were to close your eyes and just hold the space, you would begin to feel that there is actually an energy wave being emitted almost through the temples, or just behind the temples, the top of the ears. This is sort of the space that you would feel it, which is in direct alignment with the pineal chakra in the middle of the brain. And this is attributed to our third eye, this all-seeing eye. When people are talking about clairvoyance, it's not the voying, the looking of the actual physical eye. It is the inner eye that is looking and gazing towards. I'm going to show you how to turn that on. So here you have the pineal gland, which is known as the third eye, but they call it the pineal gland because it looks like a little pine cone. And so it's embedded right in in a beautiful little place right in the middle of the brain. And the 13th century French philosopher René Descartes said he thought that the soul was located in the pineal gland. And I think he is absolutely right, because we access our soul being, our light being, that which is more than we are just in our performing, showing up human form. And if we were to look at a cross-section of the brain, this is pretty much where we would see it. And you would find that little spot where it says the pineal gland, and that is the spot that we're actually beginning to connect in and locate. And you'll notice how the brain stem and all of this comes down then into the base of the skull, and then we connect down into the throat. So it's like a connection point from the higher self into the third eye, and then through each of the chakras and down into your body, into the base of your body. So we are activating right through a stream of knowing. And you can see this little line over here, this little portal that is opening up, and you can imagine that that could be the corpus callosum, and it's that center point, and you've got the two hemispheres of the brain. And right here, if you were looking at almost like an X-ray through the back of the skull, and you would be looking into the brain, or into from the front even, actually might be the front, this picture, you would see the little red spot would mark the point of the pineal. And I just had this amazing sense of what this picture looks like, and I'm not sure if you have a sense of that too, but just have a good look at that little red dot, and imagine that little red dot is actually the heart, your own physical heart. And imagine the space just above it is going up towards your neck and then your head, but which we can't really see a shape of the head here. But look how that form, the structure that is there, which is the bone and the top of the spinal cord, look how it looks. To me, it just looks like someone holding their hand and bringing their hands to prayer. And these look like wings. The other day I was drawing it. But anyway, we're not going to do that now, but I was drawing on top of it. And I was imagining these amazing wings, and that this is almost like our little heart is connected right here to our third eye, and it's showing us, if you could look at it physically, that to me would look like a person in prayer holding their hands just into above their heart. And there goes the waist. Anyway, fancy for me, but you see. I was playing with a little bit of sacred geometry and looking at the divine balance, the sacred ratios, and I thought, how perfectly balanced even is this if you were to superimpose sacred geometry upon that little pineal dot and see how perfectly formed we are. So let's learn how to activate the pineal chakra, and really breathing will be our first access point to getting this beautiful place open. So we're going to just do this with you now again. So if you will, wriggle again, get comfortable, and get as aligned as you possibly can. So you can almost imagine that through the top of the crown, you've opened a light portal, and this portal has access through the center of your body, pretty much like that picture we just saw. And then imagine that little red dot of the pineal right back in the middle of the brain. And just as you are holding your imagination and holding your thought towards it, so your energy goes there, and your mind can start collaborating with you in this creative awareness, creative opening and awareness. All right, so as we come into rest, bring the alignment in, and take a nice deep breath into your body. And again, just drop your energy right down, connect into the earth. Know that you're in a safe place and that you're just connecting into your own energy system. And imagine all around you that you have a beautiful part of energy, light, and that this is a protective field energy. So only that which is for your most divine and gracious life journey are we welcoming into this energy space, the highest vibration of light and love. It really is a good practice to set that up always. The minute you are connecting in to energy and to light, ask that it be of the highest vibration of light and love, and only that are we willing to embrace or bring into our field. Very nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is just practice a little breathing. We're going to bring the stream of air up through the nostrils. And while you breathe in, I want you to visualize it going right up to the top, to the bridge of the nose. And then I want you to imagine that you are flowing this beautiful passage of air in and right through into your brain, that you're creating these two beautiful swirling vortices that are coming up from a center, moving to the left and moving to the right through both of your beautiful nostrils, masculine and feminine, and that you're swirling this energy with each in-breath, that you are opening your imagination, opening your mind, feeding your brain, expanding your awareness. So let's just do that for a few moments, just breathing in, each in-breath, visualizing, opening, expanding, and each out-breath just relaxing. Let your body relax. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch our tongue and take the tongue and place it on a pressure point that activates the pineal chakra. And if you were to imagine just behind your front teeth, placing your tongue on the palate, try and let your body intuitively find the pressure point where the tip of your tongue can touch in to the top of the palate. And when you find that pressure point, hold the intention to send a vibration all the way up with the breath and begin and open up the pineal chakra by swirling this beautiful energy up, in and through, enhancing your energy system. Okay, let's do that for a few moments. Each time you breathe out, just relax your body, relax your shoulders. Wonderful. Just breathing, nothing fancy. Lovely. We're going to add one more point to it. What we're going to do this time is we breathe in, drawing the stream of energy and light as we imagine it coming in and feeding the pineal chakra, that we are going to let our eyes that are soft and gentle, cradled in their sockets, imagine that your soft eyes can begin to look backwards and slightly upwards as if you're looking back into the pineal chakra. So let's do that for a few moments. Pressure point as you breathe in. Draw up that beautiful energy. Let your eyes drop, look back, and slightly up. And you will notice, or you will feel, a sense of expansion, space, color, maybe vibration. Whatever you are sensing, it's right. Remember that we are unique in our sensing and perceiving. Whatever is coming in for you is perfect. Beautiful. So what you're doing now, instead of feeding your body with air that we need to survive, we are actually feeding our pineal chakra to thrive. We have placed intentional breath and energy into this place of expansion. Once we begin to expand our pineal chakra, it begins to open up so many amazing opportunities for us. We're going to go one more step on that little exercise, and we're going to bring in sound. And the vibration in sound is fantastic. I've got my tuning forks next to me here, so I'm just going to pick up the third eye, and I'm going to show you, you can see in the little image next to this. This is the chakra tuning forks, and its hertz is labeled at the back. It's 221.23 hertz. That is its frequency or its resonance, the vibrational resonance of the third eye. So once we activate with the chakra tuning fork, this is the way to do it. So if any of you have got these, this is the way to play with it. And if you haven't got, oh, it's time to get some toys, clearly. So you would hold the tuning fork at the base, and then you would make sure that your hand is not touching this little part at the base here. You would try and keep right off the whole tuning fork sort of part. So just holding the little stem is great. And then you hold the striker in the other hand, which is just like a big rubber doorstop type thing. They call it, actually buy this with it, this is called a tuning fork activator. Oh la la. All right, so you hold that in the other hand, and you're going to strike on the side, on the one side, onto your little rubber stopper, and then you place that onto your third eye. Now at this point, I'm going to do a vibration for you in a moment, but just if you do have tuning forks, this is the way to do it for yourself. You place it there, you breathe in, do the pressure point of the tongue onto the palate, let the eyes soften, gaze falls backward, and begin to open up the pineal chakra. Good. So now you don't all have tuning forks there to play with. So what we're going to do is we're going to tune in with the harmonics, the harmonic set. So let me just get those for us. Heart. And this is the throat. And this is the third eye. So the third eye tone is the, if you were playing on a scale from C to C on the full octave, the A on your keyboard or on your piano or wherever you can activate a sound, the A would be the note that you would play. And the vibrational frequency when you're working with the harmonic range is different to the chakra range. This is 426.7. But either way, it doesn't really matter so much as that the vibration is changing. So I'm going to sound this for you so that you can hear the level, the pitch or the resonance for A, so that you can begin to do it. And remember, you're all on mute, so you can make as much noise as you want where you are, and activate your own point. Now, when you're activating, what we're going to do with this, instead of just putting your tongue onto your palate, let your tongue just very, very softly touch onto your palate, so that your palate is being activated by the vibrational hum, and the sound will be sent up and through and into the pineal chakra. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so this, when I do this part, I listen. And I make sure that I've got the right note. All right, now we're going to start with that note of the note A. We're going to start with the, we let the breath release, the whole breath release. Then we're going to breathe in, and as we breathe in, and we're going to breathe in fully and open up that space and begin to hum so that we fill our entire cranial cavity with vibration. And the more intense you can hold this, the better it will be. Okay, my sweeties, let's do this. Deep breath. Make it really resonate in the top of the crown. The more you can get the vibration going, and the more you can resonate, the better it is. You use vibration and frequency, sound and vibration, to amplify and to open up this cavity, this space, so that you are starting to reverberate and bring amazing energy. Visualize now using your sound from the humming and your visualization of this little pineal chakra looking like a little heart embedded back there, and activating it through your breath with the intention to see and to open up your highest perception that is for your greatest good. Let's do it again. Relax your body. Breathe all the way out. Now breathe in. Let the tongue touch onto the palate, and we hum. Beautiful. Done. I'm not sure if my audio will pick it up. Beautiful. And now if you just sit there a little while, just sit in that space and just feel the energy that you have managed to open up. Let your eyes be really soft and look backwards and look upward. And don't have any expectations, don't be trying to do anything. Just let the space be open and clear. Beautiful.
But I see like this box is really pretty cobalt blue around it.
Beautiful. Ooh, that cobalt blue is such a great color, because actually that is the color for the pineal chakra. Tammy, way to go, girl.
Oh, I guess I was doing it right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. What do you think the box is?
I have no idea, but I think you do.
I'm thinking it's waiting for you to open it.
Okay.
Yeah. When you go into meditation, Tammy, I find that you can open it right up, and just say, I see you and I see the color of you, and that's okay for you to reveal all your divine secrets to me, that I can really move and embrace myself in this world in a more profound way. Very nice.
That's funny, because I'm working with a holistic doctor about emotional healing, and I feel like I need to be opening up in a door, and I'm just keeping myself in that. So it kind of makes sense.
Yes, good, my lamb. Just follow your instinct. You are the driver of your bus. Just follow your instincts. Never give your power away. Hold your awareness in your center. So your center is your third eye. Another center point is the throat and the heart, and of course all the chakras. But really, this and the heart, these two, oh my gosh, we can hold those open. Believe, trust, know, acknowledge your being. You got it. Good for you.
I just thought I would add in there as well that I also got the blue. I have been getting it for a while, but it's a stunning, is a good name for it. Mine is a circle, and it gets bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller. And sometimes, if I'm really lucky, I get a bit of geometry around the outside. But yeah, right now I could barely come back to have a chat, but I thought I'd rather add it in. But I was sort of melting into everything and everyone. So, but yeah, it does give me quite a lot of headachy feeling here. So I almost like possibly I'm trying too hard, or I don't know, but I do get a pressure.
Yeah,
as well.
I get that pressure. It is very, very real for me. So I don't push it hard. I don't push hard back and up. I rather just rest a bit more there. And absolutely, I've not ever heard anyone else say about pressure, and I kind of thought that was my own funny thing. But that's
a long time ago when I started meditation, and that I actually pulled away from the whole thing because I couldn't deal with things that were coming from the meditation. But then I thought, well, okay, we've got to work through this somehow. So, but it was that. So
very good.
this all goes numb, my nose and my eyes and everything. So, yeah.
And you see a circle, and you see it opening and closing. This is
it's sort of there's movement, and it disappears almost to a vanishing point, and then it comes big again and smaller.
Now I'm going to just share on that, because my first awareness sensation of all things in life is that, what you've just said. It is the weirdest thing. And in the times of my life where I've had, where I've been given a sense of watch out, pay attention, be careful, that comes in like this, right through my being. Interesting. Oh my gosh, you must be my other sister.
Yay!
Yay for me too.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it is hard to come back, and so coming back so gently, and then coming back just as you feel that expansion moving in and out. This is really what we want to allow, because it's not a linear, it's always yes, this is beautiful. Feel that, and feel the energy with your body, because that opens up that clear sentience so beautifully when you start feeling it like this through your system. Nice.
Yeah.
Good, my darling. Oh, then to speak, says my Robin. Stay there, my darling. It's so lovely. Feeling a lot of energy, Tammy. Bless you. Yes, it is like this. It is so profound. Once you start playing with energy, it is incredible what we can start beginning to connect into. So I'm going to just say this again, because this is really important. Every day, every morning, as you get up, go into the 3 sacred agreements, and that I open my energy and I open my field to embrace only that which is for my most divine and most sacred life journey, nothing else. We do not want to open or embrace anything else in this life journey. So that's your first sacred agreement. Your second sacred agreement is that through this mind and this body, I agree to release and let go and eliminate all that which no longer serves me. And we want to do that every day. And the third one is that I stay connected, aligned, and integrated into my light being and my life being, so that we are merging and connecting, and we are operating as a unit, as one whole, full, beautiful operating system. Good. Okay, here we're back to the pineal. We've opened up that portal, and what we are doing is we're training the eye with color, with sound, with vibration, with intention, with energy, to come into an awareness. So now we're going to play another little game. And so this one, I'm hoping that you can all see the screen, or at your screen, so that we can play this little bit of a game. And this is it's called simultaneous contrast. And it's a wonderful little technique that you can use in art. And the Impressionists used this a great deal, where they placed all those tiny little pointillism, little kind of dots of color. And in order to make the background and the trees look like they were shimmering and in the sunlight, they would very purposefully place little red dots in amongst the green leaves. Because the two colors, what they do together is they create almost like a little agitation. So we're going to just feel this, and hopefully it will work over a screen. It's not always as easy to work with these kind of things over a screen. It's probably easier if it's an actual object in front of you. So if you've got a color or something in front of you, then focus on that. So we're just going to go to the next slide. You can see it's completely red. And what I'd like you to do is, again, come into that restful position where you just drop your awareness and you allow yourself to be very present with the feeling of red. And you begin to gaze into it. And as you do, just allow your vision to just sort of start opening up, because actually there's nothing else to see. So your eye kind of broadens out into the peripheral vision that keeps just pulling it out. But keep your gaze at a center point and relax your body as much as you can. What we are doing is we are training our eye to look beyond. And we're tuning in to the higher receptors in the eye. Just look at that for a little while. Relax your shoulders, breathe gently. Now activate the pineal chakra by pressing on that point on your palate. And I'm going to get the vibrational sound, the A. And as you're opening up your own awareness through the pathway, looking at the color, allow for whatever needs to come into your awareness. Now, I want you to very quickly look at this, what is on the screen now. Relax your eye. And make a note to yourself if this seems to have a little hue to it. We know that it is actually a pure white piece of paper, but it might have a tinge of color to it. Make a note to yourself about what that is. Good. So we were looking at red, and red is the color, the chakra energy, which has a resonance, it has a sound, it has a vibrational field that holds a certain space. It is a deeper tone. If we were toning it, it would be the C. So it's a much deeper toning down. And if you look at this little image for the base chakra, for the root chakra, and use that soft vision just to look into it. Look particularly at the red, or look right into the center point, that little image in the center, little glyph. And notice the colors that are in that, and notice how your vision seems to open up and outward. And notice that you get that daydreamy kind of looking, that kind of gaze that you know is a daydreamy gaze. So you allow for that. Good. Now just squeeze your eyes closed. Take a deep breath. Keep your eyes closed for a moment. We're going to go to the next one. Open up and now gaze into this color. Do the same process, just gazing in. And as you gaze in, I'm going to do the second chakra sound, the vibration for it, which is the letter D, the sound, the note D, I should say. Just bring that vibration up and into your body, up into the pineal chakra. And as you're gazing into the orange, allow your eyes to be very relaxed. Allow your gaze to open. Beautiful. Okay, now quickly switch to look at the white paper and notice if it has any kind of tint on it. And some are going to be more vibrant than others. And if you see nothing, allow yourself to see nothing, okay? So don't go, oh my gosh, I'm broken, I can't do this. You're not, I promise you. It's just a matter of tuning in. Okay, squeeze your eyes closed and look at the image. And this is the image now for the second chakra, the sacral. Just let your eyes relax very gently into that image as well. Beautiful. Good. Well done. All right, squeeze your eyes closed And come on back. I'm going to come back to talk to you for a moment. And what happens is we gaze at a color. So say we're gazing at the red, and we're looking and looking and looking and seeing the red. And our vision, our retina, and all the little rods and cones, they get absolutely saturated. Our imprinting and back and into the brain gets saturated with redness, to the point that our entire being says, oh my gosh, I can't do any more of the redness. So if you close your eyes and look at a blank piece of paper, what seems to come in is the green. And these two are opposite each other on the color wheel. There seems to be an aspect of what is opposite vibrates in our life. And so we can talk a lot about contrast, but you can see it also in color and in vibration. So when you've saturated your vision with red, your eye and your brain and your entire inner mechanism of your visual perceptors say, I can't see red anymore. So it gives you the exact opposite of red, which is green. And that's why when you look at the piece of white paper after being saturated in the red, it seems to have a tinge of green in it. And it's a little bit like that when you start to look at the color chakras around people. And, sometimes just the color will just blast through somebody into my sort of vision. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like their whole body saturated in a color. And it's incredible to me how often the green comes through, and green is the heart. So when the person has got this massive switch, it just kind of switches on from being in their first base chakra, the red, like I'm trying to survive, I'm trying to manage, and life is hard, and they just drop into that sweet inner energetic space. Suddenly, it's like their light inner being switches on to the color of the heart, which is compassion for self, love for life, a deep delight of being here. And the whole body and the whole being becomes saturated with this green glow. It's just too beautiful to see. It's quite intoxicating. You see, I think I enjoy it more than the person, because I get to see it. And it's almost like if you were to pull your hands through it, you could see it at trail where your hands go through it. That's how wonderful it is. So when someone switches on their green light, I'm just loving it. If you don't see colors, it's not that you can't do this. The seeing of it is not the whole story. It is the sensing of it. You can sense as much as your eyes can see. You can sense as much as your ears can hear. So you want to start pulling in all the faculties of sensing, not just say, oh, I must see this. Because what happens when we must, or should, and better, and have to, what happens is it closes down. It's funny how the way that happens, isn't it? It's quite annoying, actually, when we've decided we want something to happen and it just will not. So another way that you can do this is that you can train your eye with, those images of the magic 3D prints. If you go online and look at those, like this kind of brain distortion, and the longer you sort of look in, drop your gaze to the gentle gaze. If you press onto your pineal chakra, you breathe up and into the passage. If you sound a little bit and you just gaze without blinking, gently looking into that space, you'll see a shift happen, and you can start looking into depth of field with those fun little games. It is much easier if you've got an actual thing in front of you. So sometimes you can find them in postcards or in books, posters, but they are online, lots and lots online, and you can play with that. That will help you trust your instinct to look beyond. I think if it just gives you that, then you've helped yourself a whole bunch. Look beyond. Okay, let's play with this one now. So what we're going to do is and this is my darling sister Linda's hand. Look at my darling sister's hand. I wish my hand was touching hers right now. So what I do in the morning to open up my ability to see, when I'm lying in bed and I'm kind of still in my dreamy state, I allow myself to stay in that gentle, dreamy state, and then I put my hands above me, and I sort of like lock from my shoulders. I'm lying back, and I put my hands straight above me, so that I'm looking through my fingertips towards the white ceiling. So that's why you can see the ceiling behind here. So you can imagine how we were taking this photograph. Both lying in the bed, Linda's got a hand, move a little bit here, try not to get all the wall and the curtain and the light switch and the lights and all that. Okay, so here you can see your hand against a white surface. Equally, you could put your a person in front of you with a white background behind them. And the moment you put a white background, you cut out all other disturbing vibrations of color. And when you soften your gaze and you begin to look through your hands, you will start to notice something. So if you can, where you are now, and you can lie down and get a little bit comfortable, and then raise your your hands above your head, and then begin to look through your hands. So you can put up one hand, but I actually always do it with two, so it would look a little bit like this. So the two hands, the left and the right, and the fingers are looking at each other but not touching each other. So as you lie back, and I'm assuming you're playing along, so I'm going to talk you through it as if you are playing along, lying back, relaxing. Take some deep breaths. Always just settle your body so that you can do it really well. And then stretch your arms to almost a whole arm length above you. So try and let your elbows kind of lock in so that you have got your, you're not bending it, so you're not getting tired in the bend. So you sort of lock your arms so you're not worrying about your arm being exhausted. And then start to look up at your hand. And initially, just look at your hand. Be amazed at your beautiful hand and this hand that does so much. So look at the actual object and give it some love. And once the gazing and the sense of gazing comes towards the hand, and the hand is being loved by you, then you can open up the sense of the energy field around your hand. So when you're looking up now through your fingers, look at the ceiling more than anything, and become aware of the fingers and the shape of the fingers in your vision, but mostly you're looking through at the white ceiling. And so you will notice, as you drop your eyes into a gentleness, that a little white haze, like what we saw with those two little lovebirds in that picture in the beginning, a little white haze seems to come around your fingers. And if you gently move your hands, sort of just waving them so almost imperceptibly while you're gazing through them, you will notice that white light very much belongs to the shape of the finger, because the energy shows itself around the shape. And if you blink, or if you go, oh, I see it, and then you start looking at it, it just disappears. It's a little annoying. It's a little elusive. So then go back to that gentle peripheral vision. Lovely. And just allow. Okay. So do this a lot. And now we're going to play another little game with that, which I love. And I love calling it joining of the energies. So you can imagine that each of your fingertips, like your middle fingers, look at the middle finger on the other side. So the two middle fingers are having like an energy conversation. So you allow them to kind of look at each other, but don't touch. And as you're looking through, see if you can watch a tube of white-blue energy light connect the two. Almost like a synapsis. But this is an energy synapsis. And the soft little hazing light is a connecting point. This is what's happening when we are connecting with mental telepathy. It is our energy field is moving beyond us and touching the other. It is connecting into them. When we think of another with great love and compassion, and we radiate love towards them, the signal is already felt and perceived by them. So don't get a desperateness about this. Don't get our must, should, and have to get it right. It doesn't matter. Just stay soft and gentle. Lovely. And then think about those times when you might have been in a crowded space and suddenly you were aware that someone was looking at you, but your back is turned to them, so you can't, you don't know that they're looking at you. You just have a feeling that they're looking at you. Someone is gazing at you. And if you turn around, you'll notice that, yes, they're actually beaming their eyeballs right into you. If you've ever had that experience, it is this experience where that energy field has had the intention to look towards you and your energy field has seen it. So I call it an energy synaptic cord because it's the same thing that's happening in the brain. So when we have a thought, a little firing mechanism opens up on one side, and then if it keeps firing and it is heard, it's a little signal, then this one comes on and says, oh, I can hear you, I can see you, I can feel you, I realize this. And this little connection goes on and these two start talking to each other. And at this point, they start to pulse and see each other. And at that point, a synaptic cord in the brain is created, which is the pathway to thought. So we're doing the same thing with energy, and this is where it's happening. Beautiful. Okay, can we come back to our sweet sitting position? Lovely. Well done, everyone. I hope that worked for you. Have a little drink of water or a drink of tea. Okay, so if you're going to want to look at somebody's aura, this is a really nice way to do it. Again, place them with a very clean background, no pictures and no things on the wall. Just a blank wall, white or whitish is good. And let them just stand there in a relaxed way so that you can stare at them. And so what you want to do is you want to stare at their nose. And if it's off-putting for both of you and you start getting ridiculous and giggling, the other person's close their eyes so that they can just relax and stand there and hold the space and think good thoughts, because the higher the vibrational thought, the higher the energy frequency that is emitted. You have them stand there and then you look just at their nose very gently. Just gaze at that part of the nose. And you are letting your attention be on one specific part, but at the same time, you're opening up the peripheral vision to see what is around. So you're not looking at what is around them, you are looking at the nose, but your peripheral vision is looking and sensing and perceiving the aura. And that's when the aura comes on, lights up and comes in. Okay, good. So this is the way to connect with our being when we can hold an awareness of something around us, and the moment you look at it, it's gone, because it is a peripheral vision activity. And that's what we're doing. We're turning on our peripheral vision. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lindy says definitely a glow around the fingers. Yeah. Adina says I'm seeing the white haze around my fingers. Yay, Adina. That's it. Now you can see it. Okay, good. Lauren says I've always wondered, is there a fine line between gentle gaze and actual squinting? Yeah, you see, Lauren, I can't squint because it activates that pressure for me over here. I can't do it. Even if I have to do eye exercise, it's like, oh, I can't. It's just too much pressure there. Yes, that's what you're saying. I wonder if this could be contributing to pressure headaches when doing this kind of play. It's exactly that. My darling child, you're speaking to the stuff that I thought was mine alone. You see, we're never alone. Our stuff belongs to each other. And when we share our stuff, it really becomes our wonderful journey, doesn't it? So what I've just added in here for you, and is that what we can also do is we can set up our space to activate our higher frequencies. And that means that we are a space, and we set up our own inner space, which means that we keep our chakras in alignment and tuned in to optimal vibration. And the more we learn to do this, like we get up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we brush our hair, we get all clean and cute, and we tend to the bodiness, but we so seldom think about tending to our energetic body. And it has a field of requirement just as much as the rest of our physical body has. And just those simple little exercises of dropping into the space, breathing, tuning in, drawing in through those 3 sacred agreements, this inner space makes us connect into all space in a most beautiful way. Lighting candles, putting color in your space, opening up the air and opening up the doors and windows and bringing in the fresh air, and bringing in plants, bringing in crystals, holding crystals in your hand, bathing them in the full moonlight. There's so many ways that we can play with the elements of nature, the elementals, and we can bring them into our life, and we can do them in a playful, fun and delightful way. And it's amazing if you bring them in with that perception, that way of being, you really can, there's so much that can come in. And I think I'm going to prod my friend Carol one day to teach us what she does, because she has got the best, as my opinion, the very best opening to her day connections with spirit and crystals and light and love and the elementals and all the angels. She's just lovely. Oh, I love hearing what she says. The other thing we can do is create sacred space, and it doesn't even have to be a big space. It can just be a tiny little space. It can be one little shelf in your cupboard or one little corner in a room. And put beautiful things that you love. Put candles, put your crystals, whatever it is that connects with you. These are the ways to open up and connect in. The other thing that I've been doing for a while now is creating crystal grids. They are so powerful. And again, there's no right and wrong way. Just if you've got crystals and you want to start playing with them, just play with them. Start feeling what it is that they are indicating. But what I do with this beautiful crystal grid that I've got in my therapy room is I activate my sensory being by just letting my hands move over it. And it's incredible what you begin to feel, because it tunes in this ability to feel through your hands. This is one of my best little tricks of late. The other thing is sound. Even a simple bell or a simple little gong like this one here, just that just opens up such a beautiful frequency, clears the air and brings you into a different space. You can also go onto your phone and you can get a thing called Mind Bell and put these little gongs on that sound, and you can sound them at different intervals even. And that's a beautiful way. Just when you hear it, dong, and once it comes in, just drop into a space. It just takes a second, 2 seconds. Just drop in, breathe, realign, reconnect, and you're there. So the more we can activate our senses and perceptions, the more we can see. And that is the absolute truth. And see is in inverted commas, because the seeing, remember, is not just the visual. It is through all sensing and being. So we looked at and felt and heard a little bit about the tuning forks, and know then that you can get many different kinds and many different ways to tune in with a tuning fork. I work with the chakra toning and the harmonic range, and they're lovely. So we can talk about that another time if we ever want to. But you can see on this image how they each have their own hertz under each of their calibrations, under each of their signals, I should say. There we go, better picture. Good. And all of this comes into the alignment that I was saying, that you want to keep through the center of your being, tuning in each of your centers. One of the most gorgeous things to do is to tune through sound, and you can do that very, very simply. We should gather and play with that one again. Let me know if you want to do that. Okay, remember we want to open up the activate the clear salience, the sensing through the smell, and these beautiful little essential oils are fantastic to open up and elevate, to release, and to relieve, and to just bring in a whole different vibrational field. It is the most wonderful thing you can do. And you'll see in this image, and let me just reach across here to my bottle. I have this little bottle with essential oils and just water inside it. And I do this a lot. Clear the energy when you've been with others. Clear the space, the energy space. When you've had guests in your home, clear the energy. Between clients, I clear the energy so each person comes into a very clean, clear area. When you've been working with another and you're working with energy, you are it's like you're a magnet for a while. Your energy and theirs has connected, has found a pathway, a synaptic energy connection. And unless you release that, it stays and remains. Please don't think that I am joking on this. This probably is the most important thing I'm going to say to you. That all this other stuff is just great to do, but if you open this door, you can open a lot of pain in your body. We are energetically connected. We want to always connect into the highest field of vibration that we can. We want to hold the other when we are connected in immense light and love. And when we're finished being with another or working with another or being in a busy place, come home and clear your aura. And just simply doing this, just pulling your hands over you and clearing and refreshing your aura is a beautiful way to bring you back into your own divine pod of light and love. Spray, wash, smudge, clear, cleanse, hum, sound, gong, whatever you can do to release the person with whom you've been connecting in light and love for their journey. Their journey is their journey, it's not yours. And if we can do that, we can keep this clean, our connections between each other clean, crystal clean. We find ourselves doing so much better, and we find them doing so much better. And I'm going to just tell you so briefly, a friend of mine who was very ill, and I was working energy, and it was way back when I didn't know as much as I know now. And boy, do we learn by our mistakes. And I was doing this gallant thing, and I thought it was fabulously wonderful of me to say, I'm sharing your pain. Please don't ever do that. If you say it to the universe, I'm sharing your pain, or I feel your pain. You know how we say it in our language? Don't do it. Theirs is their journey, and they are to have it. And yours is your journey, and you are to have it fully. But if you say it and set it up, believe me, you will energetically feel their pain. And I had got to a point where I was battling to even just walk, feeling the pain of another, that I so generously said I was going to feel their pain with them, because I thought that's the way you should do it. It's not true. Please don't do it. Clear, open, keep your field vibrant, and keep it beautiful. But thank you so much for coming on board, and for being here, and for holding the space. And my greatest intention in teaching and bringing this through to everybody is that we heal together and we get better together, because you and I, we are one. And in this great scheme of our oneness, we really can find a way to become profound beings who hold ourselves in beautiful, generous, loving, kind ways. So this is my intention, and this is why I teach, and this is why I do what I do. And for those who worked with me here, you know the experience of working with energy, and for those who are at long distance, you know that energy, because it has no confines, works beautifully over distance. So the distant work is just glorious and available to you. So if you want to connect and you would like some time or some connections or whatever you'd like, just say, and we'll set that up.
I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see from up here